Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Partnership of Greatness. In the studio with me is Honorable Minister of Commerce, Honorable CHIPOKA MULENGA. Welcome to the program, sir. And how is the family?
Thank you very much, Pastor. The family is very well. And thank you very much for inviting me on this well-reputable studio, our Camnet TV.
Amen.
I'm grateful. And good evening to the viewers.
Before you are a minister, you are a husband.
Indeed, yes, I am.
And you are a father.
Yes, yes.
So let's talk about the family.
Yes.
How is it? And the children?
Okay. The children are okay. I have many children. Yes. Biologically, God has blessed me with two. You have grandchildren, a girl and a boy. They are twins.
Goodness. Twins?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And beyond that, I have far many. But actually, I've stopped even saying that I've got twins. There's also my nephew whom I've taken just like my son. They were born in the same year with my twins. Is my elder sister's son, Yamikani. So they are triplets. I just refer to them as triplets.
Yeah.
And other than that, I've got a very huge extended family. Yes, that were others we've been sponsoring in school from a very young age when we got married with my wife. Others have graduated through university, others are working, others are still under our auspices. Yes, and my wife, she's okay. She's working on the copper belt, she's still with the mines, she's an electrical engineer, and here I am.
Honorable, I am so delighted that you have taken time to come to the studio, because Camnet TV is about family, it's about the nation. And we've got our own family out there that God has blessed us, who are many viewers.
Okay.
And so let me say to all the viewers that I am honored and privileged to host Honorable CHIPOKA MULENGA. I'll task him with a lot of questions. Honorable, you are ready?
I'm quite. I am ready.
I'll task him with a lot of questions. But as usual, I demand respect to my host. If you are in the opposition, you have no right to insult my guests, being arrogant to my guests, whether you like them or you don't like them. If you are in the ruling party, you have no right to insult the opposition, the people who can't defend themselves, and everyone. Let there be decency. As I said, I'm honored to have the Minister of Commerce in the studio, because when he speaks, he'll speak as a government position. And so let's use our brains, let's use our hearts, and let's use the vision to build Zambia together. You know the problem, Honorable, that I've found in us Zambians. Sometimes, and in most cases, we are not patriotic. Like you have those glasses, which I also have. Oh, I have reading glasses, but you have those permanent glasses. Some people, they can't see without political lens.
Okay.
And that's a problem.
Unfortunately.
They look at Zambia from the political point of view.
Okay.
Take the glasses, the political, they are nothing. So my prayer to God is that those in the opposition, those in the ruling party, should be able to come together and work together for better Zambia and for Mother Zambia. I don't know whether you agree my position.
Look, I am not only on Camnet TV, privileged to be interviewed by yourself as a journalist, but I am also on Camnet TV, privileged to be before you as a servant of God, who I look up to, actually not only today, because I'm in this position, but from a very young age, Pastor Chiluba, when I was the FM black and white TV during President Chiluba's time.
That's right. And before.
And before. Yeah. We watched you and on TV, and you stood to preach the gospel. So even when I come here, I stand privileged that I'm before a servant of God, far more than a media honor. So even when you say things like the opposition and the ruling party must come together at one time for the common good of the country, it is true. Like you've rightly said, Chabula, that every time you see, even where there are no politics, they bring in politics.
Absolutely.
Even where politics mean well, they want to drift it just to speak negatively because we've got Utunwa. Even ourselves as a ruling party, it is important that even the opposition, we interact with them. And that's why the freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of association, we are endeavoring as much as we possibly can to make it available to the public. And we can do politics, but it should be politics that unite the country.
Absolutely.
It should be politics that does not divide Abantu based on ethnicity, based on name or region where you're coming from, or religion or cultural background. But it should be something that at the end of the day we should understand we are Zambians. So I agree with you in totality. There should be a time, actually more often than usual, when Zambians should unite beyond political affiliation. And I think leadership has got a role to play in doing this. And this is a time that God has given us a mantle, we the UPND, and we have to inspire the public, including the same opposition, to say, come, let's reason together. It's the same reason why Shima Pepa will tell you that as UPND government, when we are holding any national event, it could be trade fair, it could be independence, we extend our invitation almost to everyone, so that they can come and we can gather together. Because there are events that are not partisan. Let's say it's independence, we'll be celebrating October. Irrespective of political party, they should come, we celebrate together. So
you extend your invitation to everyone. Why do you leave my wife and I?
You know, it's like naingira munganda yavatata. Elo never tata like I rightly said, look, the clergy are above politicians. And this is some, and I mean it.
That's right, that's right.
This is something that even my president believes in. We believe that you, Bashma people, you are people that we should run to.
Absolutely.
For spiritual guidance, for counsel, among many other things. So, even when we are doing these things like events, that's why we call on you to bless us. Because I can assure you, for us to lead, we need God's people to guide us. Because if we lead without God, it's all in vain. So our Fashbandi, Ukulanda, Kona Mwanje wat Tulamisha. They vividly picture him at State House Navaka, and you took a walk, the two of you, when you were invited. So,
president by Italy, the media owners. So it was the president. In there and the function.
Okay,
I am a functioning, you know.
Chilifi Mwanje Fashbandi. I'll make sure that where I'm officiating, I'll be calling on you. So,
Honorable, you are the Commerce Minister. The future and prosperity of Zambia depends on the wealth of the nations.
Yes.
China is a great nation today because largely by and large, they have so many people. Nigeria, so many people. And in Europe now, they are encouraging families to have children. Because if Zambia had, hypothetically speaking, 250 million people, and Zambia is a bigger, vast land which can accommodate that area, population, it simply means if I have 1 million I have 1,000 kwacha. Times that, means we have billions in the economy. When you are taxing us as citizens, someone grows rape, someone grows that, the tax base becomes broad. I'm not speaking as an economist, but I'm speaking factually that you would have more money as government. Because right now, my wife and I pay NAPSA, we pay ZRA, we pay all the taxes from the government. Where does the money come from? I'm just one individual with my wife. Suppose we are 1,000 channels. The more number of business people, the more tax, and the government will relax. How do you see the future of the economy of Zambia if the people of Zambia are not empowered?
Okay. Before I answer your question, which I definitely will answer, but I will not answer your question in the context you phrased it to say, how do I see the future of Zambia if the people of Zambia are not empowered?
The economy of the future of Zambia.
If the people are not. So, look, the answer is obvious. If you don't empower your own people, the answer is obvious, You know that there is no prosperity for the locals. But what I would answer you, and what I would love to phrase your question is, what has this government continued to do to bring the Zambian people on board in the entrepreneurship space, in the business area? In fact, you started very well, Bashmepo, when you said, unfortunately, everybody wants to see things in a political lens. They want to twist it mububi. And unfortunately, in politics, people begin to believe what they hear, especially when you don't counter it. But I'll tell you something, Alafiash. We have, the president of this country, HH, has believed that to develop an economy of this country and the society, we need, number one, to work with the Zambian people. If we don't bring them on board, then we have lost.
That's right.
I will still talk about this because it is important, and I want the Zambian people to see it as important as it is. We heard and we knew of what Constituency Development Fund was, CDF. It is not it is a starting point of how we want to engage Zambians to be part of the development of their economy. We were getting 1.6 million. 1.6 million. But deliberately, we had Zambians who could never do any business. Why? Because the entire business domain was dominated by Bamuisa. We had Chinese, we had British, we had Americans, we had Lebanese, you name them. Zambians were spectators. For you to do business as a Zambian, yes, others were doing it, but they had to be affiliated to people like me. Oh, CHIPOKA, MUP, then they can get contracts. But we campaigned on the premise that we will stop that and make business available to everyone. And how do we do it? We make now Zambians to be masters of the development in their respective communities. Why? Me, I'm a member of parliament. I have got 28 million kwacha. The 28, in excess of 28 million kwacha I have, I sit in Avantumo constituency Mwandi. In 28 million kwacha bampela, it does not allow any foreign national to have access to it. It does not allow Ushikara constituency Mwandi as a businessman. Yes, CDF, no one has Constituency Development Fund. I should make it clear. It is meant to be not spent but invested by the people of the constituency. Only if we can't find about a business in the constituency, then we can ask the neighbor constituency. This is a message that most members of parliament, others who do not want CDF to function, are not telling the people. Where I come from in Chingola constituency, you are a media practitioner, you can do your survey and even investigate. We are able to do our own drainages We are able to do our own bridges. We are able to do our own school construction, police post, supply desks from CDF itself. The development that we are beginning to do and undertake in Chingola constituency is something that we never thought could be done in a period of less than 2 years. And the question is, who is doing this? It is not me, CHIPOKA. My job, CHIPOKA, is to lobby for those funds to be done by my people. They are building state-of-the-art bridges, which we were contracting foreign nationals to do. Constituency. Now we are doing markets built by our very own people. Kumudenda, it's a rural community. We have put up a modern market.
That's in Chingola.
Yes, it's my constituency. I want to narrow it down to where I'm coming from, because in Alanda Kumbi, but what we are doing in Chingola is what we want to do across the nation. The bridges, the boreholes, the schools, all these facilities we are doing. Now, who is 28 million kwacha? Who for the Zambian people? It was never there. This is how we build entrepreneurs. There is something that Zambians, but politicians, like you say, they want to make a mockery of. When we said, let us make cooperatives and work together. Through cooperatives, mwambo kuteke kopamo, mwambo kula ubulalo bridge, and you do these other things. It will make people work together. People said, aka in the manika wala ali mdala mashami godiali shepu. But he wants to make Zambians have revenue, resource, wealth the way he did it. But how did he do it? He did not work alone. He went into partnership with people. Bringing strength of individuals together, we build a land of hope. Tuipita Mumbali, including the people who are watching me, they will say, Zambians, they always betray each other. But if we always betray each other, then we will never be a prosperous country. Then we will never be entrepreneurs. Look at our Niswa Mwisaba Mwenye. They work together. Pashopu kubika pomwana, kubika pomunangwe. Look at the same Chinese we are talking about. They work together. Look at our Sungu. They give it full of nabo. We have to learn to believe in each other. It's better I have got 2 kwacha, I invest in 2 Camnet TV than take it and I become CNN. It's better I take 5 kwacha, I invest in 2 Camnet TV than I become BBC. But and that's what this president has done. Let us work together.
Before you go further on that, Honorable, there is a general complaint that CDF is not accessed by people.
Okay.
Take, for example, I made some research myself. Who qualifies for CDF and all this? We have a football team in our constituency. This is coming from street kids, disadvantaged children. My wife and I are spending a lot of money to hold those boys to realize their dream. And somebody said, Pastor, you can go through CDF. They told me how CDF works. I cannot lie here. I have not gone to the CDF office, wherever it is. I don't know. I haven't gone. So I should not blame the government. But people say that it's difficult to access CDF. And you, as an individual, Honorable, though I have not visited the other constituencies, performances differ. You see, you are talking about your constituency, and you are so passionate. You are working with the people. But most of the MPs, they are seen in their constituencies when the elections are near. That has been the case from the time of Dr. Kaunda. May he so rest in peace. But for you, even the last time you said it, even now you said it, that your wife is in Chingola.
Yes.
So you have access, and that bond. You don't just go when there is a funeral.
No.
You are on the ground. That's why you can say CDF is doing this. But over and above.
So, Bashma Bepo,
yeah,
if you tell me that there are some MPs who don't go, are you going to blame the government? Because not every MP is a government MP. I would blame the government if the government did not make their resources available. But this time in Bashmawepo, it is one button. All the constituencies receive money. All of them receive money. And it is about, I need to take this very seriously, and I want to tell the listeners out there that the same conditions of access to the CDF funds I have in Chingola are the same conditions in Lusaka, in Mpika, in Monze, in Choma, in Iliua, in Mansa.
All the constituencies.
It is the same conditions. What matters is now the responsibility of individual members of parliament to make sure that the people they are serving, they access the money. The challenge to Kwetemoya Fashband, you talked about something that was so enlightening, that we see everything in a political sense. Kuliba mwabele kwa tomufulo to say ngana bomfya shimpya shibombe, people will see that
the praise will go to the government.
So I will hold it. Because that money is meant to serve the people. In the first place, MPs used to complain, why let Tinaba MP to go into constituencies? Because they didn't have what to give the people. But now today we've got money. Deliberately I've decided as member of parliament, because this president has given me enough money. What have I decided to do? The same boys, cadres, girls and boys, because I'm also a cadre. And I'm proud to name myself a cadre. But what matters is the behavior of a cadre. The same boys who are cadres, who are saying Tuliemo, we said, can you form cooperatives?
Let me help you to define that word. Because when you say that you are a cadre, there are some people with low education like myself. They will think a cadre is somebody who throws stones.
I know. Each one actually still emphasize what I'm a cadre, so that we can.
So I want to help the viewers. From the Bible point of view, we call them disciples. A disciple is a firm believer into an ideology or the belief of Christianity. So those are disciples. I'm saying this for the sake of those people, especially from Chipata. The people from Eastern Province, they don't understand this. Carry on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you see, what we decided to say is, look, let us be people now that will have usefulness in the community. Because others can get jobs. But those brothers and sisters of ours who have not attained education beyond grade 12, what do we do with them? We bricklayer. And that's why we have identified the, can you get the skill? So that you start doing this on your own. I feel proud. The same so-called cadres, believers. Today when we go into the constituency, because they're entrepreneurs. Because even the payment of these people who are doing projects is on time. The same way you talked about, how your question was, how are we going to develop Zambia if we don't
the future of our
economy if we don't make people entrepreneurs? Civil servants never used to get paid in our country. It was normal every year, every day to watch on TV civil servants striking because they've not been paid for 6 months. This president made a decision. In the same way, members of parliament like CHIPOKA never strike because they are paid on time. Civil servants should be getting paid. In the same way, members of parliament like CHIPOKA go to parliament, mid-term gratuity they get paid, end of service they get paid with any MP at parliament they get paid. But do you know who pays members of parliament? It is you people who are working. But why don't we pay the people who retire? This president said, when a retiree retires, the longest we should do should be 3 months. Now 3 months when we don't pay them their pension, we have dismantled and we've continued to dismantle pensioners. Because it's the same thing that we do. Me as minister, that car you see me driving, I buy fuel. As minister, na apato getting daddy pillar. So I feel if you have
with a government vehicle.
Yes.
Is that the decision you have made as government to
what we've decided as a government, and they give me an allowance for it. Not I should get the money, I buy. I should get the money to Alipila. So I see if we built the economy or we wrecked it. Because I'm a politician that right now, the Zambian public are complaining at I buy milk and I see, yes, now and I should work on it. Because we want to live like them and understand them. So we don't mock the Zambian people. But how do we build an economy collectively with the Zambian people? We should make liquidity available to the Zambian public. It is the same reason why the president talked about partial withdrawal of the NAPSA and other things. People thought it was a joke. I remember one of my elder brothers who was an MP, when we said we are increasing CDF, we said it is impossible, you can't give CDF to the public. Why don't you want to believe the Zambian people that they can be masters of development in their communities? But can fail work? So this is exactly what we want to do. But to build an economy of affairs, it can't be limited only to CDF. You talked about the Chinese. Last week I was in China. The president sent me ahead of him. And I saw how the Chinese have developed their economies. They've worked together themselves. Of course, they've also been learning from other countries. But where they've learned, they believed in themselves. What is crippling, or what is we're crippling with right now, we've got all the resources, copper, gold, mukula. Let me even, before I talk about
and sugilite.
And sugilite. Fiance, na gold. Na gold mule mfaya pa airport. Na sugilite yakula pula. I will talk about it. You are saying we need to bring the Zambian people on board. The first press briefing Hakainde Hichilema had when he was elected as president was to cancel the license of timber that foreigners held. Because you know timber, every day per TV we could see Mukula Basenda, Rosewood Basenda, Shani Mopani Basenda. He cancelled it and said every license now should be a preserve of the Zambian people. Why did we cancel that license? So that Zambian people, because by some people, all foreigners want timber. When we cancel it, Zambians don't have money, but they've got Ubunonshi in timber. So let them get a hold of their timber. So that the foreign nationals who come, they will have to buy the timber now from the Zambians who have got a license. But don't sell your license. Go into partnerships and joint ventures. So that in the long term, they've got the money, you've got the timber. Because Zambians, we don't have the money yet. But how are we going to have money if we start sharing the money with Barabakwete? And they set up industries which will make these chairs, these tables, and the rest of those things. Then we start now creating revenue for ourselves. Banking money in our banks. Then money starts coming. Not for money, through that, we start developing entrepreneurs for ourselves. Where I went into China, I have been talking about electric batteries. Yes, in Ndola we are doing it. Feasibility studies are coming. But what have we done? There is a company that is coming. Right now, as I'm talking to you, there is a company in China, Lesa, I pray to God that he allows it comes to pass. They are now manufacturing equipment to come and set up here in Zambia and start producing batteries. By October next month, they should set up. What have we said? Let there be partnerships and joint ventures with the Zambian public.
So am I free to apply in that battery company?
It's not even about applying to say, can I be a partner? It's first number one. Because you're a TV owner and you want to partner with somebody who has got a battery. It's not your passion, you fail. Let somebody who has got interest in the manufacturing and they bring it also a track record. I think we can merge you. You can get even 20, 40, even 50%. So even when they start doing that, manganese yobe, lithium yobe, cobalt yobe, copper yobe, uyakwete chuma. So do not give away your license. Work with them. There is more money in value addition of copper, cobalt, lithium, and manganese than selling it off as a raw material. So these are the prospects that we are looking at.
But that one, Honorable Minister, let me interject by saying, as you said, the Zambian people are not down. I'm looking at a situation where you say, Pastor Chilwa, what is your interest? Why don't you go to China and study about that company which makes that? With your help, with other people's help, why can't I own a battery manufacturing company? I become the chairman, not the Chinese to be the chairman, the owner and everything. Because at the end of the day, maybe 60%, 70% will go to China. And we'll still keep on going in circles.
Pastor Chiluba.
But if I am in charge,
yes,
on top of that,
yes,
all the money that you'll be taxing me and everything will remain here.
Okay. It's a simple thing. As Zambians, we should learn partnership, not greed. It just doesn't have to be yes, I can send you to China to learn. But to set up that industry, it will cost you $300 million. You've got the copper, you have learned, but do you have the $300 million? You don't have it. But they have it. So why don't you partner? Because we've got many Zambians who have got mines, but they can't develop them because they don't have the money. They've got farms, they can't develop because they don't have the money. But now somebody has the money. How good is your asset if it can't give you value? It's useless.
No,
but now you are saying, government, can you help me?
What I meant, Honorable, not a matter of greed. I am still going back to my point.
Tell me.
Why don't you say, Pastor Chiluba, what is your strength? Because you and I have traveled, especially in America. Let me bring it down to the church circle. People like T.D. Jakes, they honor him, we honor him as a great preacher. But there in America, I can go to the bank and say, I have a vision, I need a church here, I need cabinet here. They will fund once they're here. But here, I go to the banks and say, look, I've got this land, I've got this, I want to start cabinet TV. I appeared in court 3 times for not paying in time. Thank God we paid. This is what I'm saying, Honorable.
Now let me answer your question.
Yeah.
In a very simple way. You own this media house, and you've been covering for the past 2 years how this government has been working on to restructure the debt. Why have we been working to restructure the debt? Because the government doesn't have money. Much of the money was spent in borrowing, and we are the first government in history during COVID time, we failed to pay the debt that we owe the Chinese in the year 2020. So does the government have the money to say, Wachiruba, Israeli station, $2 million, $3 billion? It doesn't have. Why did we default? Because there is no money in the government treasury. The president was saying, there is no money in this treasury. Now we are building it. Until we build, we need to grow our GDP. When the MMD left this government, we had $23 billion worth of GDP. 2021, we had reduced to $18 billion. You know what it means? With a population of $20 million, where is the money for everyone, for the country? There is no money. Until we build the fortunes in the coffers of our country, government, then we can have the luxury to say, now, listen, and do not misunderstand me. I'm not saying every entrepreneur Zambian should just wait for the Chinese, the Americans, and the British to partner with them. If you've got the resource, and if you can get some financing, well and good, we are happy to see you do it alone. But when in the midst of that struggle, we are good to do partnerships. Let me tell you the good thing about partnerships. Every year in, year out, Zambians used to spectate businesses that they can do being done by foreign nationals. Why do you think Zambia up to this day has failed to develop even a millionaire or a billionaire? It's because we allow those businesses to be done by foreigners, but we don't want that. Once we partner with them, there will be transfer of skill. There will be transfer of knowledge. There will be revenue sharing among the other many good things that are coming. So when you say, I'll go to a bank and say, can you give me this bank? Can you give me the money they will give you? Do you know what we have not done in the past? We have even sold away our very own banks. Does Zambia have its own bank right now where we're going to say they'll give you the money to set up? Almost every commercial bank is foreign. It is the more reason why you have seen Minister of Finance is trying to restructure Zambia Development Bank. That's why now we have taken it. What can we do to improve the financial capacity of Zambia Development Bank? So it is our own bank. So when you go there, Bachiluba, they'll give you the money to develop. Let us be alive to what the current reality is. We were supposed to be paying billions of dollars, millions of dollars every year to the debt that we owed. And impia stock ongwelenge chalo. Tasha Dipuna invested into any sector that can pay itself. It was all for consumption. So there is nothing. But while we try to build money, what do? That's why we bring people together to work together. But once we build the fortunes of the country, then we can say that.
But what about, Honorable, those Zambians who've been privileged to build their own fortunes, to grow their own businesses, and maybe they are implicated in the process of crime? What do you say to that? Because it is difficult to see a Patel, a Jet Li being implicated in the process of crime, but Zambians would be implicated in there, and those Zambians probably they are employing a lot of people.
So I think I'll shy away to really deal with your question, because you're talking about legalities and the judiciary. So if maybe I should learn from you. So if I am a Zambian, it's okay for me to illicitly acquire wealth. And let me just stress this point. And employ a lot of people, naiva, and I employ people, and nobody should implicate me because I've employed people.
That's not what I meant.
So,
please align where the law is concerned, nobody is above the law.
Exactly.
In some countries and around the world, even presidents must be brought to account.
Exactly. Nobody's above the law.
Yeah, but where I'm saying is where I make this money, and you come to me, I've got proof. I know that I didn't steal. But from nowhere anti-corruption pounces on me. And I'm announced that Pastor Chiluba stole. These are processes of crime. What will happen if I win the case? And already I'm looked at it as a thief. You know, those things, I'm talking about nobody. And I've been a firm believer, if you remember even in Kaunda time, I've been a firm believer that all these permanent secretaries, when you audit and you find their shortfalls, please prosecute them. Nobody is prosecuted. The Auditor General will say there was this shortage. Nobody is being brought. There was this shortage. Nobody is arrested for that. I've been talking about it.
But can I tell you something? Our government is different. And we are not a government that follows. We don't do that. But in an event, including a sitting minister, if you reported CHIPOKA, there will be an investigation that will be launched. Because we should learn to have Zambians to be working very hard. It is hard work, smart work that breeds wealth that is sustainable. Don't forget, barely 2 years ago, 2 years ago actually, we used to see young men flashing money, very city market, minister. Are they still doing it today? Are they still getting it today? Because those who are giving them, they're not doing it. But if I send people to train as plumbers, boiler makers, business owners, even when I'm long gone as MP, they've mastered the skill to work hard and they'll be okay. If you tell me that PSCs, you told me, I'm trying to connect this very well, where you ask me to say, we don't do that in my government. Unless there is alarm raised. Then definitely the law injustices must act, including even myself. But again, you have said PSCs, they are not doing right things. Can we prosecute them? Nobody's prosecuting them. under this government.
I'm saying,
let me just say
from way back.
Now let me give
when
you...
the Auditor General report comes out, money is stolen. This is stolen. Nobody is prosecuted for that stolen money.
But let me tell you, you covered this story even here at Camnet TV. What is happening at the Ministry of Finance? When there was an audit query on allowances paid, where are the permanent secretaries that you're talking about and other leaders? Alarm has been raised. You heard even arrests were made under this government. Probably if you were in Kaunda, Chiluba, Mwanawasa, Sata, the rest of them, you never saw it happen. But you covered it here at the Ministry of Finance, where an audit query was raised, and they have been reprimanded. I'm sure even Cabinet covered it, where a district commissioner went to sign over 2 million kwacha, which was not budgeted for. He was fired by the president immediately. Diverting from the budget and taking money where it is not planned to help the Zambian people. We have seen a lot of these things are happening right now. And I think these are things that you should also be highlighting to say, but they prosecute them. We had gold scams in Kasenseli. Did you ever hear gold Kasenseli, anyone? Here at Yo Yachipani. Here, you have heard. You hear about Sujret, you hear about anything, including officials have been reprimanded. I think a pat on the back is required. Because prudency, nobody's a sacred cow.
That is true, Honorable. Let me maybe put you in this. I'll repeat what I said to Honorable Dora Siria when she was Minister of Information. I'll repeat to you. You see the problem you have as government. You don't explain things to the public. I think as a government, you have left issues to be dictated by the social media. They do videos, post, and everyone gets everything that is happening. You have no time like you have come to say, Pastor, can I come and correct this impression? All you do is you react to what the social media is doing. But if you came here and say, I want to inform the people of Zambia that this ministry, there was a shortfall. The Auditor General raised this, we have done this. This one, we have done this. You know, it will put the people at ease, not speculating.
That's right.
Because the government is on top, briefing the people. But if you leave matters to social media, which unfortunately has become so powerful than the regulated medias like myself, you are destroying the country.
I have to agree with what you have said, and I'll take ownership as Minister of Commerce. Maybe I've not done enough. Not maybe, I have not done enough in sensitizing the public on what we are doing. Including on the business opportunities that we are opening, we have not done enough. So I agree. I think we should up our game. You are right.
But why are you confessing alone?
No.
You are several ministers in the parliament.
I will tell you something. You are talking about the economics of this country, finance and everything. That's my responsibility. So it is important that I take ownership. That indeed I should do it. And at the right time, in the right channels, I will engage my colleagues to say, no, the media practitioners have picked it at Bane. And we are not justifying, or we are not speaking against it. It will be done definitely. But it is important and prudent that I take ownership. And you see, Munshewa Aile no So when you tell me, and I should heed counsel, because what you are doing is good for me. Like I'm sure when I've explained, you said from Kaunda time reprimand, but now I've told you, if you never challenged me like that, I could not have said it, and you could have banked us. Never challenged reprimand. So now with this explanation, you take comfort to say, and this is what we're trying to do. But we are very committed. This President HH has said we cannot reconstruct our economy without involving Zambians. We need to work alongside the Zambian public to build our economy. That's why we're trying as much as we possibly can to increase the offering in CEC, to increase the funding in CDF, to have partial withdrawals, to withholding tax. wakula kofia kayanda kula lipira without interest to remove it so that people shut about something. Our pensioners to get paid on time. Our civil servants not akaritabale for control nyamolo, they get paid. The contractors who are supplying government to be paid on time. That is our vision, and that's what we are doing. So that is an offering that brings the Zambian people together. And we have not oblivion to the concern that the Zambian public are raising to say, no, the cost of living is high, we need to address this. That's why we were elected. When people say, $1, we should think, yes, it's a global challenge, but where should we touch to sort out this problem? The Minister of Energy, today we had cabinet, he was tasked by the president to think outside the box and show that we work on it. Then the cost of living, we are thinking about it. But in the same way Zambian people believed that we can sort out the problem, Bashma people, before we took over government, we had to have expired condoms, expired drugs, and no drugs in hospitals. We went the whole of last year with that challenge. I am very proud that today that problem is much smaller and it's getting slimmer by the day. I deliberately said, let me go to my constituency. I'm passionate about my people. I went to Chawama Clinic. I went into Munsenga health posts. I went even to do an impromptu visit in the night. The patients had received malaria drugs from the clinics and hospitals. Zambian people, when they say Takudifi, we listen and we work on it. The same way they believed that we could start bringing drugs in hospitals. The same way they believed that we can get rid of load shedding. The same way they believed that teachers who had been trained from the year 2008 have not been employed, they can be employed. The same way they believed that doctors and nurses who have graduated 10 years ago could never get jobs, now they are getting jobs. They should believe that slowly but sure we'll resolve even these economic hardships that we are going through. Yes, there are teething issues. Because, there are consequences to bad governance that we come through. But we were elected on the premise that we resolve these problems. And definitely we will resolve the problems. Zambian public, last year they complained. The cost of fertilizer was very high. 1,200, 1,300 per bag. The president said, in a press conference, I take ownership of this, but coming in the years ahead, we will work to reduce. What is fertilizer going to cost? It will not cost anything more than 150,000 kwacha. It has reduced. The delivery of fertilizer and ID compound, it has been distributed in all depots today. All that remains is for the Ngaliwala FISIP to pay their 400 kwacha, they start getting mfundo. So that they get it on time. And these are the things that we are going to work on as a government. We are not shy away to address the concerns that the Zambian public are raising them. We will deal with them and we will continue to deal with them. But to achieve this, we need the Zambian public to work with us, including the same opposition that we should come together. Look, I talk to the opposition political leaders. I talk to the opposition MPs. And I tell them, colleagues, for how long will you be ridiculing? You yourselves, even as MPs in the opposition, even failing to get CDF ya kubantu. Mulepa CDF yako shupashani. Muflo kwete kubantu. So that the beloved Zambians we have, they get the support they need.
There is this, Honorable. Somebody has sent us, you can see that it's saying that evening the minister and pastor, may the minister kindly confirm over our retirement, because since 1999 to date we haven't been paid.
Which agency is that?
Huh? This person, I don't know, Tavaviki Reponeshina.
What I would abalele mbama message, you would better mwanchita guide mwabombele nikuisa agency mwadiko, so that I take it up to the Minister of Labor.
Absolutely.
So that you get paid. Because we are very committed to making sure that people get paid. Indeed, not everybody has been paid, but we are dismantling.
This has been sent by Kenneth Wakumelo.
Okay. Kanonga banje boko babombele.
Yeah.
It will be easier. So then
to generalize.
Exactly. Because even just this year, we were dismantling debt for the Tazara employees. All about for the Bambi. Yeah, so it's a phase. We are going to do it. We are going to doing it. We are dismantling. We are dismantling. So even to you, the viewers, if you can say, I'll take it up. I'll take it to the Minister of Labor. I'll take it to the Minister of Finance. We are committed to say that the Zambian people.
You see, Honorable, it takes me back This country is not UPND. This country is not UNIP. And it never was. It was governed by these political parties. The problem we have, we fail to come together and work together. I think this problem, you should sort it out. I appealed this Kuriwa Chiluba, may he so rest in peace, on a personal level. I visited Watatawa Kaunda when he was incarcerated in Karundu. And I found him talking to George Bush Sr. for about 30-45 minutes. I took my personal message that he should forgive Bachiluba, he should forgive us as Zambian people. And that's the same message I took to Bachiluba. So privately, under there, me, I don't want Honorable CHIPOKA MULENGA, you to differ with an opposition party, I mean MP, Mwamboku Itukensere, because one, Mudivafiash, two, Mwaliopa. So if we fail to come together as Zambians and work together, and we should not say because HH is in power. HH may govern 5 years, may govern 10 years. After 10 years, it won't be HH. So why can't we support one another so that whoever will come after HH, he has somewhere to start from? I think this is a problem I have with us Zambians.
I hear you, and what you're saying is very right. I hear you, Afiash. But before I even bring this challenge to you as well, like I said, I'm not only here because you're a journalist, but you're also a servant of the Lord. The church has a role to play to unite the church than to divide it. We politicians, it's not the church to run to us. We should run to the church for counsel and guidance. I'm a firm believer in the baptism of the Holy Ghost, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and the salvation.
Absolutely.
And I know who you, the servants of God, are, and what role you should play. Even your message on the pulpit is to unite but not to divide.
Absolutely.
So even as much as you would challenge me to say, can you do this? You, the clergy, our fathers, our mothers, you have to play your part. Bring us together. Let not there be Christians for HH. They're only Christians for Jesus. Let there not be clergy to say, bring us together, and we are ready to do it. But yes, leadership comes with responsibility. Like I said it earlier, we are bringing everyone together. When there are events, we invite everyone to come on board. So our first, if there are specifics that you would say, we UPND are not doing this, tell us. We will not oppose or ridicule you, but we will draw consent from your words and we will implement. So where are we missing? Where would you tell us?
I am well guided by you, Honorable. Yes. Please help me to comment on this government's relationship with the former president. What would you comment about ECL, the arrest of the former First Lady?
Okay. I am very glad you have asked me that question, and I will explicitly deal with the issue. I'll start first, number one, with the arrest of the First Lady.
Is my question wrong? Because
it is a good question.
Is in court?
No, we are not interfering with the court process. You have said, what is our relationship with them? Doesn't mean that when the case is in court, we cannot talk about the people. Kanongandel stop prejudice or predetermine the outcome of the case, then there is a case. But you have told me the arrest of what has UPND got to do with the arrest of Esther Lungu? You have got nothing to do with it. This is where this country is going into problems with social media and some certain political players. I saw even former vice presidents, former political players, they even started insulting HH to say, I kataba Esther Lungu abalonga themselves. How did HH arrest Esther Lungu? No UPND person reported or took Esther Lungu. But Esther Lungu had the problem with her ownness. Pangala mabali chushanya bene na bene. Wabula wakapokola to intimidate niswa. Ona nisa ya balembesha. Just because she's the former First Lady, who the niece has reported, the police should not act. Which UPND official incited them? It was a family affair. How has it become UPND problem? No UPND member, no government official was even close to that. So it was a dispute they had in the family regarding Indalama. And even as for UPND, we just started learning from them. It had nothing to do with the UPND. It was a family affair. Nendalama must be, is it 400,000 or Batinisha? I don't know, it's 4 million or 400,000 or $40,000. The question that the Zambian people should even ask is, where has she gotten it from? In what means has she been acquiring this wealth? It was a family affair, nothing to do with UPND. This you should even clear it. Coming to the relationship with the former president, to this date, UPND has got no ill feeling for Baed Galungu. Every time Baed Galungu we have got national events, we invite him as the immediate past head of state, or as the only surviving former. We invite on all events, but now you would ask me to say, maybe, in fact, let me comment on this issue. Not as minister, but both as minister and also a politician. Baed Galungu, when we were in China, I saw in the media, Baba Kanyo Kuyapa Airport. Nobody has banned Ed Galungu from flying out of the country. He knows more than anybody else. This is a law that he inherited, we have inherited. And there is nothing wrong with it. Even me, as minister, for me to travel from Chingola or from Lusaka to Chingola, I should get permission from the head of state. Because the head of state should know, in case of any emergency or need, who he can call closer. So for me, I apply, just to travel on airport, they will ask me, authority tatamukwete. Kateka Mailonga 010 to the president who call me. Especially a president like we have. He's 0203, that's why you hear HH writing you messages. Can you do this? Can you deal with this? Suppose he wants to go for a meeting. Will you go America? Will you serve the country? Even me as ministers will get permission. Now for a head of state like him, when we say he needs clearance, let me explain to you about Batata Chiluba. That is a father of the nation, as we are calling him. He is a man who was head of state. When he's flying out of the country via like South Korea, he is provided with security. And there are allowances, there are emoluments that are provided, even as he goes. But in Gabala Fiontomoka from Charlotte via Kuchalo Chavene, all of Mumwena Zambia Muke for Tukuchalo Vele Valia Batulo Luma. Nakakano Kadimuchalo Mugana HHO Batulo Lumoko Vele. How could you allow Umunobi outside the country who have security? But for them to leave, there should be security clearances where they should provide him security and everything that is needed. Even when he's flying out, people would demand, oh, since you are flying out, can we see this? So that these people that are going with you, they are provided for. Former President Bachagolungu is not a common citizen like me. He led the country. Even when he's flying, the embassies there must be notified. So that even the reception is different from you and I. Because of the officer he held. But when they tell you, until we put these security clearances at your Badinkanyok from Chalo, ask him a question. Did he get the security detail that he needed? Did he, because he was head of state. If he was allowing people to come Chalo or his ministers to run away, that's why we could see ministers insulting or being beaten. But the rule of law, not even presidents above the law. Why can't we follow the right law procedures? But this is a man, I need to stress this point clearly, who is busy. Like today, yesterday you saw him. He says he's out of politics, he has done, but when the Gawayakuma jogging here, so even yesterday you saw the videos are flying all over. But when you bring it to a politician like myself, who say this one is masquerading to be out of politics, but he is. But to tell you the truth, we are not a government of hooligans. or illogical people who so don't fly out of the country because the Mweba Longo. We've got no problem with that. But allow the Zambian public to appreciate that nobody can stop him. All you have to do is the right thing.
So put him in clearance, Honorable. You are saying that his office failed to apply for his medical travels. It never applied.
I will not comment on in the context that you have put it. I have explained my
I'm
very
talking
clearly.
about, because if he knows,
yes,
I have to go and be treated.
Exactly.
And being a former president,
yes,
he should tell his office
exactly,
to say, next week, I need to go for medical checkup.
Exactly.
Inform cabinet office
yes,
that I'll be traveling, so that cabinet can put all those security details you are talking about. Now the question would be, did he fail? Did his office then fail to apply and to get all the security details?
Did you see that he sued government for not being allowed to go outside the country? You saw that. The moment the chief government spokesperson, Chushka Sanda, came to the public and said, these are the procedures which were not followed. What happened? Didn't you see a withdrawal? These are things we should be asking ourselves. The chief government spokesperson came to the public to say, uyu muntu nga mwamuleka fyale yendela vaya muchitakantu tukaluusange echalo. By the way, he's the only surviving former head of state we have. To us, he's a treasure. Lelonga bala stefe chintu batolokero kumailo batolokero. Ela mukamulusa mukalanda tubuteko gwalipote bwasungire omuntu uyu. He has got security tatabachiruba. You don't have it. That security must be when they are working outside the country. In the same way I work outside the country. They should be budgeted for. Who will pay them? Who will give them? Those are procedures that we need to notify. But in the absence of that, then there is a violation in the rule of law. So because now I'm a politically exposed person, I can do anything wrong and go to the public and get public sympathy. And people will say, Namuimina. But ingefunde liaba kwisa. Ushanishi liaba vesafye, liafunyako balungu. Liaba chirubafye, liafunyako banalungu. We should be very realistic and very fair with each other on how we judge each other and on how we conduct ourselves.
Now you realize, Honorable, when I say that you don't communicate as government, I'll still make this point very clear. When the president is stopped, the former president, you, especially the chief government spokesperson, should have been on the platform the following day.
She was. She was, and she was.
The following day.
Very much. That is where you saw, there was a lawsuit, Abafiash. Why was it with it? The chief government, she was on the radio, she was on TV, she was on the news media houses.
Now let me tell you my point.
MK.
You said, pastors for Lungu, pastors for this. When all those things were happening, I was out of the country. But I'll tell you one incident. And this is where I hate when people want to divide the nation on political lines. When Madam Esther Lungu was incarcerated at that IBEX, I had to be on the national platform here on the Partnership of Greatness. But my wife insisted and said, Pastor, let's go and pray for the lady there. I said, you see, they will take me to be a PF. She insisted and said, don't look at those political things. We cancelled the program, Honorable. We went there and we found a lot of people. Yes. But after she was released, we proceeded to their house. I preached a message on love and reconciliation and all this to the president and the people that were there. The following day, I called President HH. I said, sir, what is happening here? And guess what? He was gracious enough. I can show you his message. He agreed. And he didn't even say, no, Pastor, what. This is what I'm saying, Honorable. Me, I have access to you. I have access to President Lungu. I have access to President HH. When I see the response from President HH, I see the response from President Lungu, I tend to think, who are the witches who want to divide people on political lines? Because once President HH and President Lungu come together, these tensions, I can tell you, they are necessary. Both of these people, for me, I regard that they are my church members, and I can't take sides. I would never in this country side with any president, and I'm on the record on that. Even during Vakaunda, during Vachiluba, never sat. President Sata had known every house where I lived for 23 years. But even when something happened to President HH in the opposition, I followed him to State House. Not, sir, you said Mukafumia Public Act, Order Act. He gave me his views. But all I'm saying, Honorable, I'm bringing you back to why I asked this question, that this country, we can develop economically, we can love each other without tensions. Because for people to think President HH and President Lungu are enemies, I think that's a wrong concept. That's where now we come in as a church. Even as pastors, you should judge us by our works. Because if I go Kuliba HH because he's in power, I want favors. I go Kuliba Lungu, I want favors. I think that is a wrong way to go about it. So I bring back to what I said, Honorable, why I asked you this, to say as a nation, you have also explained that Honorable Choshika Sanda went. She went there. Now, I don't know. I think you may now start guiding us as pastors.
So now, I'll say this to you as pastors. And I'm very glad that you went to her home, you went and prayed for her. And that's where now even you, the clergy, what was our incarceration got to do with HH? Look, because yes, HH is the chief commander-in-chief, but Tata, even because I'm MP, ndepange milando, because never MP, ishikatwa, but never MP. You know what we are doing in this country? Every criminal number, kula bora funi alishe mfuti, atibe mwikata fanti ni politician. Aya ibeda urupuwa wakwe, atibe mwikata fanti ni politician. What was our incarceration had to do with it? In the same way, the prophets in the Bible were so hard even on kings like David. Even you, like you have said, I should advise you, you should do to us. Just say, Mayo, umulandumu apangile, taukumine ubuteko. Mweve nefi no amilembeshe, mwana senge wenu, lekeni ukubika mubuteko. Mweve ne wikishanye munganda yenu. That case they have, how are they going to make peace with HH? What has it got to do with HH? How are they going to make peace with me? What has it got to do with me? Nothing. It is a conflict in their house. So they should resolve the issues. And that's where you, our fathers, should come and guide and say, stop being political. Sort it out yourselves. When you write a message to Waka in the Ichilema and he responds to you, I'm not saying this because he's my president or I'm in his political party. He's one of the meekest men I've ever met. Even right now, you pick a call, you call him, he may not answer, he will write you a message. Please text, I'm on another call. He will have a conversation. He's the president. He engages almost every day. He talks with everyone. I go to his house. Even before I was member of parliament, I sat with him. That is the president. He would tell me, how a president now, he goes and makes tea for me. The president. Is that's how simple he is. Even even Nabarataba Lungu, who claims has come out of politics, you have a role as the clergy to tell him to start telling the truth. Yesterday, just yesterday, where he gathered, it's healthy to jog. Now can you push a point about that?
Yeah.
It's important. You saw it. Yesterday I was disappointed. It's good to keep fit and healthy. That's why even you, the clergy, should come and say, Tata, we want to see you ngempanda mano ya chalo. Fimo ibu eshemo. Fimo leka. We used to have beating of people in this country every day. City market, everywhere. The head of state was looking elsewhere. Today, do you hear cadres beating people, ballocking people? Because the leader of the country has said, you do this, the law will impress on you. Will be pressed on you. It is quiet, it is peaceful.
I've got some videos of the cadres pouring oil.
Yes, I shall tell you the truth. Isolated cases are there. In the same, but doesn't mean that those are even here, and those who do that, the law is pouncing on them.
But what I'm saying, Honorable,
so we've got even isolated cases where we've got cadres misbehaving. But the president has said, let the rule of law take its course.
What I'm saying, Honorable, well guided. But you see, I am bound by the constitution of the word of God. The Bible says, thou shalt not judge, so that you are not judged. As a pastor, I don't want to go below my mark of ministry to start talking about that's not my role. And why I went there, like I said, is to say, love your enemy, forgive your enemy. I'm taking Bible there.
Yes.
Even to President HH, that's the same message. I can't judge President HH to say he locked up Esther Lungu, he did this. I am not going to get involved in that. Those are your standards as politician. Me as a pastor, I must remain above board to preach reconciliation. The Bible says God has given us the ministry of reconciliation. So my role as a pastor, allow me to remain this side so that when you are hating the member of parliament, I should not come and say, why did you insult Honorable? But let me sit down and say, Honorable, stop hating. Honorable, you don't have the right to insult. I think that is my role, and that is where I remain. So I brought that case that you may see that if as Zambians we can stop antagonizing people, HHAVFI, UYAVFI, and we work together to bring these two together. Every one of us has faults. Every one of us, we have faults. But above that, the Bible says the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts. That even like Jesus, he's on the cross, he still says, Father, forgive them. That's my message and my role. Even calling upon my fellow clergy, like you rightly said, we have no right to say, I'm pastor for Lungu, I am pastor for HH. We are destroying the nation. These two people, they need to love each other. They need to forgive each other. They need to come, even with their families. Me, I would want to see Vamayoba Lungu with Vamutinta, HH, Nava Edgar Lungu, Vale Nwati, Navekara. I think that's a picture I have, not Yama conflicts. You understand my view, Honorable?
I hear you.
Because once we work on love, once we work on, we are hating each other. We are Zambians.
Bashma, I hear you and I agree with you in the same way I agreed with you from the onset. But there's a point that we need to clear. I said that I'm here on this radio, this TV station. The incarceration of the former First Lady has got nothing to do with the government, has got nothing to do with the party. It's an internal issue. I was disappointed even to see that they took it in a political way. They should be truthful. Who? They should even say, no, you can't know who from government, who from the party UPND had anything to do with that. So it is important that even, like you have rightly said, we do not bring Urubo Ororobi between the two leaders or anyone. Ukwete Chilubo should take ownership. Ukwete Chilungami should take ownership and build the others. But I hear you. We need to work together as a country. We need to act right. But when you told me that, then you tell us as clergymen, how should we do it? All I would lobby from you is the truth. To tell us. Like I said, when I've come here, I come in humility. Because even the way I would respond to you, the way ninga miyasuka imwe, nefo ninga yasuka ka garinkombo, umkalamba wani fiala sana sana. Bakarinkombo bakalamba pali. But if ninga basuka, kudi imogozi ndi mucheni cha kwa shukuru. Muli mugomfu wa kwa leso lesa womba to impart the knowledge of the Lord in me. So even when I look at you, that I'm not just looking at you like an ordinary man. So even when you come to me, you've got the right to rebuke me. The same way I told you. Nga hapo shimuchindi kwa David. I listen damu kamuine. Umwemfu wa kwa lesadi ile mweba. Na kwa tempange shingi. Elo umwa kwa tafeka mwa ya mupoka. Waipaya. David mwalishe kwa siku. Uyo mtu munga mnasana ta. Iwe wine kutufungo. Iwe David iwe wine iwe.
You are not above the law.
That is what we need even from you, our parents. When na lubane chipoka. Tatanga mwandeka fikutina ti mwalaso pachirubo chandi. Then you encourage me to do more wrong.
For me,
kusankan pia chipoka ichule achika kutwala kungeno kapia. Mwana wandishila isuma musalaba wa kwa Yesu.
For me, Honorable, as you have said, I thank God that I took the step.
And with that, yeah.
And at the time, I was supposed to see President HH, because I can't just hear from President Lungu. Also, I didn't hear because there were a lot of people, and I can't talk there. My role is to register the message. But there will be a time when I need to sit down with him and counsel him as a pastor. There will be a time I will need to go Kuliba HH and counsel him as a pastor, because him being a president also, he's got wounds. We forget that aspect, that is a soul who needs to be spoken to, who needs to be encouraged. So that is where now I come in, me as a pastor, to minister without wearing those political glasses. I refuse to buy those glasses. Those
no,
glasses.
You shouldn't. You know, I'll tell you something, Awafiash. Even me, before I am member of parliament, before I am minister,
absolutely.
And I choose to be real to life. To see everything political, it is wrong. I have to see. Even and that's why I'm here. Even you've got here on TV, people are writing messages, they're rebuking, and I'll listen to them. I know do you do phone lines here?
We are opening now.
If you open phone lines, there will be those that will disagree with me. I shouldn't do it. In fact, me, I even like Yawantoba because I learn from them.
But Muku Kalipa,
Mkwai.
Ishifu aba tukanense.
Awe, aponishite ku nkalipira nishimufuro ebale chitamamba Mkwai. So ukalipira kwa ukusuma.
Umuntu ngalela ndafe. Amye batu ba CHIPOKA. Iyo apatufuilo ku chef. Inebali intana CDF. What? They are building the nation.
Chachine.
Not to kulanda fiati. Imwe mulibabufi. Imwe mulibati. This is why I even, if you heard me, I'm avoiding to talk about Lungu, the family issue, because I have no access to that. As a pastor, my access is to preach the word of God and leave it there. But as you said, Honorable, as I said from the beginning, this country is not poor. It's very rich.
Yes, it is.
That if you empower all of us Zambians, you empower us, take ideas, Honorable, this country will be so rich. I always preach in the church that don't say Boma Yanganepo, Boma Yanganepo. The greatest wealth God can give a human being, Honorable, are ideas. This community, it was an idea. The church, it was an idea. And there are more ideas in here that I don't want to go to the grave without Zambia celebrating what God has put in me. So if you bring us together, we have a conference on ideas how to build Zambia, I'm sure we can be better than Singapore. Because Singapore doesn't have sujilite, they don't have copper, they don't have what we have, mukula tree. We have all these things.
Let me even say something about sujilite. I have heard, even I think on this platform, and other many platforms, you know, problem to mchalo cheso. If anybody just posts on social media, and people believe. 3-4 days ago, I saw somebody who post up a media that government na ipela license ya baba full abanesweleshana club,
the
strip club,
yes.
And you look viral. When I saw it, I said, let me call umgalamba wa local government. Minister makalamba mwapera po strip club kwisa na pera strip club nje moneni pa social media that kutumiba kanso mwapera ando tupere weka fi. It is nowhere close to the truth. This government has not done that, and we've got no intentions to do that. Ngabaka chitapo iPhone shishi, but as it is, nothing like that. I was shocked. Weka. Number 2, sujiraite baikata abantu atamatraki yali lubabali shitisha kwisa. And I would want to lobby even from you, the media practitioners. Go to the police and the arresting officers. Exhibit. They are all there. And for yes, when they will be disposed, the country will be informed. Not for the matter of what your cousin said, no, it's there. I challenge you, the media officials, go and investigate, go and publish, go and capture, they are there. I think maybe in below Zambia, we should revisit it. That's my opinion, individual as a person. Because to la starting a court case, he said for now, we didn't get a minimum in crime who is songafi. Never didn't get chalopantansh. I wish there was a way we could maybe dispose it off. If the law is there, I hope we can do it. But it is there. It has not been stolen or taken anywhere by anyone else.
I just want to thank you to come to this station. I can tell you, whether you like it or not, Cabinet has a following in this nation. A very big following. And so I would not waste time to bring you here to come and talk about things which are not important. I invite you, and when you said, no, Pastor, I'm coming, I'm delighted, because most of the people from government have complained this. Let me put it on record. Most of the time, I want to invite ministers. There is this issue, I want to invite this. They don't come. They give reasons. I can name some ministers here, but it's not proper for me. I want to get the truth like you have come. But the opposition, they even phoned, Pastor, who are you having next Monday? Who are you having this? And this is national matters. I want to balance so that when somebody says this, what is the government position? Today there is vendetta. What is the government position? It's just like, oh, this government has brought this, and there is no information. So if you don't explain to the people, the media will be explaining on your behalf. I mean, not the media, the social media.
No, I heed your counsel and advice. We should be interacting with more of our people. Besides, we owe it to the people. They gave us a mandate. We should be explaining to them. The president has done his part. He's always trying to hold press briefings, interact with the people. Now, even us as lieutenants, we should be communicating.
Let me open the lines, Honorable, so that you can answer some of the questions that people can have. You can use my book. You can use my book. You just remind me of the people that are calling, so that I don't forget their names. Dear Cabinet TV viewers, our lines are open. Like I said, if you don't agree with the Honorable Minister, you don't have to use abusive language. No. We should be civil. You can differ with me without insulting me. I'm equally human. And those of you in the ruling party, you don't have to bring abusive language to the people in the opposition who are not here. So if there is any question that you have, or any clarity, or you want to say something, the minister said if you want to challenge him, you can challenge him. But it has to be purely on facts, not fabricated lies. And so our lines are open. You can also text those numbers which are there. You can send your text messages, and may God richly bless you. And honorable, as people are phoning in, as people, okay, hello, good evening. Good evening. It's not on there. Good evening. I am permanently blessed. How are you, sir?
I'm very fine. How are you doing that?
Who is calling and where are you calling us from?
My name is David. I'm calling from Kitwe.
You are who?
David calling from Kitwe.
Oh, David.
David calling from Kitwe. Please go ahead and make your contributions known to the nation.
Yes, Pastor, my contribution is as follows. But first of all, I want to appreciate you for you bringing the minister on the channel. The government channel is blessed by both you and
Amen.
now, I want to show one thing to the honorable who was invited to this.
Yes, sir.
When you are talking like that, while Ghanaians are suffering, is not good. You yourself know that it was promised that the data is not going to take over KTN. When KTN, did you come in the public to apologize that lie as a government? When the president said the fuel will be at the first quarter, now it's the first quarter, and you come to apologize. When the bubble deal was at 120 quarter, now it's at 200, and you come to apologize. Those issues you are raising against the former president are not going to help the economy. So, if you are there, and the growing salary, which is the government state salary, so it is the reason. Be honest. It is not that people like people different need to the singing good English on the TV channel. Be realistic. Be realistic. The street vendors, take them from the street.
But David, it's a pity that the line has dropped. And Honorable, have you heard what he has said?
Yes.
And what would you say?
Okay. Atindela ndafe chisungo chisuma pano. Nararande chipembewa David Pod Bomfu paper belt. You asked me as a politician what is the situation between the former president and what is happening, and I had to clarify it. Yes. And I've accepted that the cost of livelihood is high. And we've not refused.
You have accepted it.
Yes, and we are working on it. In the same way, we sorted out load shedding. We created jobs for the civil service, the police, the soldiers, the teachers, and the rest of them. We will resolve this issue. Ichibi, then we are not concerned about the welfare. But I understand my brother David from Kitwe, because you see, there is pain, and that's why he's speaking like that. But I'll tell you a word of comfort, my dear brother David. We are not a government that is just sleeping and forgetting about it. Yes, we are going to resolve this issue. And I am here even to listen to voices like his.
That's right.
So even when I go back, I say, but David, because we were elected to sort out problems.
Now, feel well.
Exactly. And these are issues that we have to sort out. And I can never mock the Zambian people. when there is a tough livelihood. But I'll be wrong not to answer questions from you when you ask me to say, Mwale Kanya, former president, I should answer and set the record straight. If David doesn't want me to deal with that, then there is something very wrong. I cannot only come to the radio or TV only to discuss issues which are good for him. I am minister, I'm politician. When they lie, try to propel their agenda politically on lies, I should clear it. That's the reason why David is paying me the salary he's talking about, because I get paid by him. I should also justify the causes. He's telling me that I should apologize for bringing Vedanta in KCM. I take ownership that I'm part of cabinet, I'm part of government, and Vedanta is coming back to KCM. Yes. I worked for KCM at David. Maybe you never even worked. And at the time, Vedanta lost its way. I was a senior manager in KCM. I was getting paid in dollars. We even went 2 months without getting paid, because Vedanta never acted in the right way they were supposed to act. But the question that David should ask himself is, why was Vedanta behaving like that? The same government Vedanta awe tatale nkanyi kulumbula balungu. Ula boss wa Vedanta ngai sale pela ku State House. Baranda agwekeramo conditions worsened for us. Because this government that was there never put Vedanta where they were supposed to be. Vedanta has got mines in South Africa. It's one of the best performing mines. They've got a Black Mountain. They've got a mine in Namibia, Scorpion. They've got a mine in Australia, because the leadership there said, we don't want to Funtungu. You should act right. Before we formed government, HH was very clear. I hope that you can also play the records in the same way you play the records where he said they should not come back, where he was in opposition and said Vedanta should not be allowed to treat people like this. Where he said, do not put the mine on liquidation, because the liquidation process is a bad court process which has got serious ramifications to unbundle. Put the mine on management receivership, management care. They never listened. Now, when they irrationally, I've never forgotten how the mine was put on liquidation by David Ngatamwa Ishiva. I was in NDC with my elder brother Bakambwidi. When Kambwidi was on radio called Iweb FM, he spoke so much and he talked on how he was going to make sure that if he forms president, government, Vedanta should be dealt with. Bebere yawe kambwilikanshi na isho feeling they are sorting about Vedanta. HH was in Lusaka, and he also said there is no way I can allow Vedanta to treat the Zambian people like this. The moment I form government, this Vedanta must be put in a place where they belong. Vaed galungu flew on a plane na MULENGA David Dukurumbula balungu abo. Fimo fin tutwilala boko tufumine. In the same way tataba chilwa mtukanya pali shetani kwa satani yomuka kwa heo. Fimo fin we should remind each other ati chinta chuwem. He flew into Ndola pa airport. We are divorcing. I'm pressing the mine under liquidation. They got the mine. The cases they charge these guys were so flimsy that even when the PF were there, we started losing cases, even today. This is a case, based on the liquidation case, can go even for 30, 40 years. We have never gotten out of court. What did we say? The president told Kabuswe, Minister of Mines, you can't keep mining in court. All the mining companies, I said it here, I'll say it again. FQM, Lumwana, Kansanshi, KCM, Mopani have got court cases, over 300 court cases with the government. So all the mining enterprises in the house stopped recruiting. Kukito kubadiba David. Awe nivale kanyo kulumbrapo balungu, basa ina dealu na ba Glenco iya busha. Where Glenco has got a lifetime iya kula senda kopa mumopani no kula sta decide ko bala shiro ko bala twala nga basenda ba shiro bena basale mpia bala twala kumopani. Up to now nothing goes in legal. It can be a wrong thing, but it's a legal thing, and we are trying to unbundle that. But when we come back to Vedanta, we said because of the court cases that we have, legal, nobody will win. There's many people continue to suffer because of the court cases. We can go for 30, 40 years. When I left KCM, terminated of employment by the same government, the same way CHIPOKA. Let's work together and redeem the Zambian people. The pain the people in Chiraombwe feel, in Quito where David is coming from, Kunkanda, I feel it. But we said, Vedanta, can you behave yourself? Number one, before you even step foot here, they are owing in excess of $200 million of debt. Can you pay the people at once? Under the same part government, they never paid in Congole Kubantu. Suppliers and contractors, they crumbled. We need to revive them. In the same way they behave in South Africa, Australia, Namibia, they can behave.
President Kasonde was here some 2 weeks ago.
Which President Kasonde?
EFF.
Oh, my young brother.
He said that Vedanta is bankrupt.
Vedanta is bankrupt? Kwena, I cannot argue about Kasonde Shive, abe nyoko bakumana wa Vedanta, to say Vedanta bari bankrupt wa Kasonde. Ubu afya bwachino echalo, onsi omuntu chiku na kwataka na kutayalanda. Who declares someone bankrupt? It's the courts.
Okay, well, not the word bankrupt. This is a media. It says they are not performing well. That's the
where are they not performing well? I'll tell you something. Panondi, or I can be in business. There are challenges that I can have. But it doesn't mean that I cannot run this other asset. Yes, we've seen headlines where we say they are looking for money here. Every reasonable investor should look for funds to invest.
Let's pick up this call, Honorable. And,
no, but David, I've taken your concern about the hardship of life. We work on it.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name? Mwabombe nishukuru. Ni mweba anielo mule tumino kufumakwe?
Yeah, ninemo Timothy Mubanga.
Wa Timothy Mubanga. Okay, va Mubanga. Landeni tumfwe ipisheni wako, Honorable.
Mkwa Mubanga mulishani.
Although I am Minister of Labor, but what you can't touch money, that the chairman was union. Ejo kwa likuja, kwa neno kutila. Hello?
Tuwe Mubanga
kwa yako Landeni.
Kwa video was touch money in 1998. It was the best person. It was the first money to be sourced as a finance project. Now, you so much experience, but you just to tell them that so we went to court. To court is government, so, up to now, what we are doing, so up to now.
Ukufuma muna inte shani wa Mubanga. Ukufuma muna inte?
Muna inte 8, when they told you, to
okay, Bambanga bunjelele Bambanga.
And I was one of those who were wanted to were 3.
Okay, Bambanga. Umfwe nefe wa minister Valelanda.
So, you know, this is but when they are
phone. Are you able to track his phone number?
Mr. Director, please keep Mr. Mubanga's phone number. The Honorable Minister would like to have the... no, but Director Vala to pay the phone number, you know, so that I can give it to the Minister. But Elo Tamula Putula line, the Minister wants to talk to you.
I would kutuna lomba ko kanabesa mumfa ile ko fe yo ne court ruling mwa kwete, but I will call you after program nga yapita Pako bati I pick you abadi ngiro kumidipira ndala ni ba ZCCM na ngunu bakansanshi.
Oh, I think, Mr. Director, you should give me the phone number for Mr. Muvanga. You can attend to him later. I'm sure he's going to believe that you are a working government. When you call him.
Last time, we were talking about soybeans. Quite about 2 minute phone. About Mpongwe. He complained and everything. So I said, I'll call you back.
You called him? So bad you are complaining.
It is to listen to complaints.
Yeah.
Talking about David Ingabaka, you work on what we did with land. But at land, watch up. That's what we were elected for.
Absolutely. Building the nation. Let's take some text messages. I know there are text messages of the people there. Mr. Director, give us some text messages. Comment on LGBTQ issues getting slowly into Zambia and now stripping business. This is Mtonga from Kitwe. Namulandakale from Kabwe. Namulandakale pafia stripping in a fiance. Evening our pastor and our honorable say that the truth shall set you free, and that's what we are lacking as Zambians. God help us, Mrs. Nzoa from Kitwe.
I talked about it. Actually, it was me that quoted that.
Okay. UPND has failed us. Fuel, mill electricity is high. Things are not okay. Vamwamba from Mondora. You've mentioned about this.
Yeah.
But just take note for that. Minister, thanks for clarifying the Esther Lungui arrest. Pastor, you remain a blessing to us. This is Sivandi from Livingstone. Okay, give us another text, sir. Whether my text ya tayari buinamule tupela femu ila sala shukuru. Genuine fight of corruption should start with both foreign and local companies. That what's that word?
Entices.
Oh, that entices politicians in court, in corrupt activities. This is Wakonga Isaac from Kafue. We should do. Okay. Good evening, Pastor and Honorable Minister. I would like to thank you for the information. For I personally condemn the government without understanding what is really going on, Madaliso. Let me have my glasses.
Okay,
let me have my glasses.
Okay,
give us that, the minister wants that text. Yeah, give me my glasses.
Good evening, Pastor and Honorable Minister. I would like to thank you for your information. For I personally condemned the government without even understanding what is really going on. If you're watching it, she's appreciating that Madaliso Piri is appreciating that he was condemning us without information, but today has got information. So they're appreciating the information we're providing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there was no information, so they could condemn us. Now they have appreciated. Thank you, Madaliso.
Maybe you can elaborate on what you have heard generally, or those some of the things you have answered them.
Okay, I think much of these issues I've answered them. I will talk about Mtonga from Cabo, who is talking about LGBT. Party LGBT, Mwaneso. The president has made it very clear. I also make it very clear. This government will never support homosexuality. We are not that people. We are Christians and we advocate for Christianity. When you talk about strip clubs, why do you believe anybody who just posts on social media and not believe me or government official whom you elected? We are not giving any license for strip clubs. If you believe we are doing it, I let the license. I can let the Nangwe mubene mukaye twala kufi mukaye mu club mumwine mukaye ndanga kona ne chipoka tiyo imwe balishana kufishimbi huko. We don't do that. Even if I'm Minister of Commerce, I want to make money for my government. I can't make it in that way. Money must be legitimate. I want to come to you as my man of God. look in your eyes with pride to say we created money genuinely, not mububi. I want to create money that even when we take as an offering to God, it will be accepted. Not in the ona ulabana babene, lelo ndepange chumoko. Bakabwe, we are not advocates of strip clubs or LGBT. We are clear as our government. We are Christians and we are firm believers of that, and we will live like that.
And the president has made it clear.
The president has made it abundantly clear. You know the problem of Yash. You find the opposition today. Bakula monafia abe ni aba ichaba shumfwa. Na fwalo fefine bafwale buna ichalo mulefwana tamulefwaya. Mwadi baba na bapula mafunde. Babula tiyo chipoka nasuminishaba. We don't advocate for that. We advocate for Christian principles. Our president is a Christian and an elder in his church. And that church is SDA. That's what we believe in. Then we come to Bamwamba Kundola. Bamwamba said the cost of living. I've addressed this.
You have addressed that.
Then Bakaonga Isaac from Kafiwe. Balandoka, to finish corruption, government should deal with both foreign and local contractors, companies that are enticing politicians. Bamwamba, as a citizen, you also have the right, Bakaonga, by Isaac, to report any corrupt activities that you see in politicians, non-politicians, that is coming in from local and foreign investors. That's the only way we're going to create this country.
Absolutely.
To rid this country of corruption. Then we're going to do it. Then I think this is it. But Timothy Mubanga, please, Timothy Mubanga, I think I'll try to retrieve your number, Nalami Tumina, so that you can give me more information on which consensus were you working for, what court ruling was there, then I'll pick it up with the Ministry of Labor. Thank you.
I've also got my own portion. Honorable. Me, I like reading both negatives and the positives. This person, Nelson Moore Jr., he says, Pastor, you also need to swallow the bitter pill of hate because you are uttering out your utterances. You can tell that you have grudges against the current government. Now, you know, to people like this, I laugh because let me pick up this call. I'll answer him so that others may learn. Hello, good evening.
Yes, Pastor. Maumba.
Wapa lwanalesa katuishimo ni mweba nishukulu.
CHIPOKA Maumba.
Ibwino kanabesa mwabombe ni mweba ni imwe.
Oh, Patrick Kundola.
Patrick
Kundola.
Okay. Chakubalirapo. Okay, ndera ndo bwino sana.
Mkwai.
And then our pastor watotera pasho. Wato mbe leshke nani. Yes, wali PNG. Okubomba okulima amwewene mulebomba. Now, ekintu kino bakikobandeko okumyawo kyakumwago batisi muli frustration y'abapasita. Era tundeko okulambira bati nambali mu politicians batama basente kumuru abakabyogeranisha arangire ekibuga okubwalikira n'ekibuga okubwakirira abamulera takire mulefunyawo malaysia ekimu kinatoka bati it's nothing to do with my church. But everyone was in front of other party government, which was Valungu corruption. Kadarism Valungu, Shalom, whatever Mavantu, Jositare, Jaya Valungu. And then, if the US community in the best person who is answerable to the president. Whether the president is the person who is answerable. Number two, mrefu kutoka ndasi ndiye. Kuna kundora asiwa fungwa wakati. Kwa kutele ndani yako ya disappointed ya kwa kunda kwa application letter. Wambo kutucho kwa watu. Mukomera kwa washamani. Now, asu abashikana connection. Kisha kutoka shina na question there nothing. So this is supposed to say 6 years to 6 years. I think if you show in another cabinet, I can assure you to the Congo, we are just mobilizing Moshan. Let's not go there. If I become because whatsoever you are saying was to come there, we are Pandora that is the best way not to buy. We got that vision later. It is so to end you, number one. You should want to get the defense of and then what president was condemned of Bunga was down. It's the same of president now the dancer was in under the dancer. After you queer long time ago. Yes, you should have the dancer motion. And then now you got 2 years without the dancer again to say the dancer Arab treatment. So when that man has done about the John Kanya, but now politics are what. Because I'm going to 24-25, as you must say, in Taiwan to quite step of us to come somewhere. But what I can tell you is, please, our president some level for mean our ministry, what for Community Ministry, trade and commerce from Zambia. There is no trading in Zambia except the exportation in Yamatawa, trading outside the country, look at top of agriculture, interest of agriculture. It's a mess. And you are boasting to say, no, the government is working what? The thing that you are boasting, you say recruitment of teachers, nurses and wives. Yes, you are doing that. You are not concentrated on whatever is familiar. But we have a majority. What are you doing about the roads of Assembly? There is nothing interesting. You are 20% to NAPSA, Mr. Post to say NAPSA. Those are government obligations of what you need to do because of what you will. So, in an hour about NAPSA, how am I going to benefit from 20%? And then I want to, if you can, because very well, to have the Okuta Vitamina, I want to ask because number one, there is no man situation. We are traveling to come and I can assure you, we will go to the vote. Join the Cameroon and we are very seriously defending the president because we reform.
Sorry about that. Patrick, Patrick,
he has highlighted a lot of important issues. Yeah, I can see Patrick is a very genuine person. He has talked about the good things we're doing and what and where we are missing out. I'll say something. I think Patrick said, politicians must repent. Every person must repent if they have to see the kingdom of God. And I will not be careless to miss heaven because I'm a politician. This is a very temporal life.
Absolutely.
But there is eternity. So my brother Patrick, I hear you. And you have said something that is important to say. Everything you're saying, HH is innocent. Patrick, my brother, the only thing I excuse, look, it's my job. How I should defend him? But when you say to Alan that HH should take ownership, yes. If there is something like right now, because he's the head of state. So because he's the head of state. And chance lelo kateko liponga ale tambafie ale umfobu no buchushu bule chitika. Then we'll say he's a wrong person. But if he runs to address these issues, then we are getting better.
He also said that when you're in the opposition,
exactly.
So avana vena, if you chitika,
no problem. We've got no problem. But that's why I'm here to clear it. To say, okay. If you don't want us to be accused, but my family matter, should we intervene at HH? Then we can't interfere. then there's no, then it's that we're not respecting the rule of law. But there is this one point, Yoba Patrick Balanda, Pali cost of Milimio. My brother, I'm with you, and I agree, and we are committed to doing it. Others, when it was there, we don't want to go that route. If I err in my words about the cost of living, I would ask them to forgive me. But my mandate is to make sure that we reduce the cost of living. And we are focused to it. Then he talks about CDF to say, no, CDF is being given. You know, these are issues that I will engage all my dear brothers in Ndola on the CDF part.
The members of parliament.
Because it is these MPs. Look, HHU no Mulelanda, MP alipela abantu bonse. Elo inendeshi bonfia. I kutuna temwa sana kuchingola kwa hapo omoa kutuma. Ni temwa sana lelo pantu. Aba nani feba kopa leba letuma. Yes, te bonse aba poka CDF. Bambina bashita apply ko stafimbwa lubilo. Na mango taipira pamo. Kwa bambi senda, bambino senda, mbasa senda ko liga bati chibi. Kwipusha abantu ati ushofu mine kuli bani. You need no connections to Usa and Patrick. I wish I could get your numbers. So twice, I see, because I could hear even from this caller that this is just a genuine person who is able to appreciate good works and also talk on. Say, pull up your tokens.
Yes.
So he means well. But if he doesn't get it, and people say, this is bad manners. In a Tatabachiruba, I'll tell you something. The way I've learned from the same HH. We took a trip to China. He took even PF MPs in the opposition to say, it's taxpayers' money teshandi. Now, as MPs, what kind of investment we should bring for the country. Whether any investment yaku chamataba market, yaku shenkoko, now any investment yaku pangenchito. Everybody was taken. It's the same approach I have even in my constituency, representing the vision of the president. Over to pay the skills development, tatusala. Once if nikao fela, tatulo leshela pampu miyo. How people know ubusuma wa UPND ba PF ngata basunga na bena. Ichika likapansaka.
Musumba wa.
Ngata bali yako ba PF aka mitemwashani. Bring them on board. On a larger scale, when we are recruiting for teachers, Iva Patrick Mwalanda. Patrick, ichite chako angasha recruiting wa teacher na bashani. We had about 4 or 5 by-elections in Luapula. Tatwa ishiwe twalingishe na ba DC. Aba litenda nda PF 7-9 years tawa ingirengito. Because but they applied. When they got jobs, to us DC. To us they were just citizens. That's how we went on. But apparently I never still applied. Why never UPND ever selected? Because we were not selected, they were all Zambians. But he said something that I was very important about. He said, Muposela manu kubasambirira ba teacher bashani mulebe ingisha. And that is the more reason why in a national campaign nalenda nabantu bashasambirira bengi abengi basambira shalenda na bena abasambira na obalenso ngabantu bale tupela kutukwacha 10,000 1,000 to campaign but lelo bala bashasambirira bala chitashani cause konse ko bamkwingira inchito kwala batleteni grade 12 certificate. It's a more reason why HH has said na bashasambirira te bakuposa panse, let's give them a skill. And I'm sure that's what Patrick is trying to do. To also get something up. I wish, I can't get numbers for everyone. But I'll sit with the members of parliament, Frank Tayadi, Lubosha, all of them in Ndola, Mwambazi, to say, guys, scrutinize your people. People should not ask her to fumile banani. You don't need to just come from Tayadi, Mwambazi, Lubosha, or anyone for you to get. You need to be just a Zambian.
That one of segregation, Honorable, I've even spoken about it. There is one pastor who died, may his soul rest in peace. He died this year. He was our son in the faith. When PF was in power, over the Black Mountain, it was political. And he didn't get the chance there. There were other people who got the chance, but he didn't. When UPND came again, the same Black Mountain became political. And there was no one from this party from the opposite side or other people. So it also became political. We even covered it here, if you remember, Honorable. And some people were interviewed, and I also appealed that, you see, we are all Zambians. PF Vapera Black Mountain Kumakadas. UPND Vapera Black Mountain Kumakadas. As you are saying, and I wish that the nation can hear your appeal. This business of asking Fumine Kwisa, it's not good.
It's a bad...
You know, in Bemba we say, Ualila, Tabamucheba Kukanwa. So I think carry that message, as you are saying, Honorable, to all the members of parliament, to all your fellow ministers. Zambia will be a better country to live in.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, I've heard what Patrick has said, and it's important. But I need to say something. But the same Black Mountain under the UPND, we've got an independent member of parliament, Binu Ompundu. He benefited from it. They engaged all MPs and said, why my MPs? Like Kenya, and how did she not been when benefited? Abantu wakom constituents. How do you put later? Paviuma, my dear brother, Kalobwe, is an MP for PF. He was also engaged. I've got I never got engaged. I never got a share of it because I was coming from Chingola.
The opposition, yeah.
No, it never PF vate by UPND to attack. It to attack because much I want to clear it off. The president said, let every resident there have a benefit of it. Techaba UPND, Techaba in Zambia. My dear brother Pavuma Kalobo is a PFMP. He was engaged. Yes, he was. That's why I'm mentioning a name here. I can't lie. He's a honorable member. I'm a honorable member. The independent member of parliament, Honorable Binu Ompundu, was engaged by the Minister of Mines to say, Chusa, na iwe mwikaramukitu leta abantu bobe mu constituency, they get a benefit out of this. In an UPND, I never even got anything. I was never involved because they are chingoloko. But the opposition and the independent, they were involved. That's what we did under the Black Mountain.
Okay, well, Honorable. Na lunchtime you foot na ine na alikuwa ataka constituency. Na mule pera Black Mountain mule itako na churches. Na if
I will be very honest with you.
You call the pastors in Kitwe
yes,
and say, pastors, how can you, I'm appealing this genuinely.
That's true.
Pastors, they look after the orphans, they look after this. You call them there and say, pastors in Kitwe, sit down here.
Yeah.
Let's benefit together. I'm appealing this genuinely.
What you are saying, Afesh, is very true. And I think the provincial leadership went an extra mile. Led by Honorable Elisha Matambo. Invite him one day just to discuss that issue. They went beyond what you think, Awafiash. They were women who would say they are marginalized. They brought them on board. Part of the clergy, let me not speak so much because let it be addressed at the right time. But I'll tell you something. It is important that I take heed of your advice. We should take concern about you, our clergy, even now before election, because it increases from church to campaign, and you are very good. You receive us, but when we are doing the right things, we don't. I hear you. We should work with you.
You are a blessing. Let me just read this because it touched me. You are honorable. Okay. It says, Pastor, you also should swallow this bitter pill of hate because you are uttering out. Can tell that you have grudges with the current ruling party. This came from Nelson Moore. Why I read this, Honorable? This same person doesn't know that I had to call you to say, Honorable, please come and explain. Instead of social media taking over. And when I ask questions, there is no bitterness or grudges. He doesn't know who Pastor Chiluba is. I remember when I interviewed the President HH, you remember in opposition?
Yes.
Came even from the UPND people to clarify. That was a well-structured interview. You know that I was insulted and my mother was insulted, my father. I'm telling you. 3-4 days after, President HH also calls me and he says, you know, Pastor Chiluba, the interview you carried out, this minister, this one, they've taken it out. They've stretched it out. And they also heaped things on him. You know, it's this is what the Zambia I don't want to live in, where if I say, Honorable, I don't like the color of your suit, then you say you are cartel, you are enemy. And this is the same thing I'm bringing to you about the nation. This nation, we are better off to unite. If you look at me as an opposition, I look at you as an opposition, we are not going anywhere. And my message here to people like this Nelson is that take off the political glasses. What is it that President Pastor Chilwa wants to achieve? How can we bring these two parties together and pray together, not just waiting for 18th of October at the reconciliation to Amukupepaku Stadium, Honorable. Thank God for those prayers. I'm not putting them down. But I think there needs time when we can sit down a cup of tea. We all admit privately and we go to God. This is the message that I'm bringing, Honorable. Your last words. I promise you that next week you should also advise me, because the things that you have brought here, they need to be rebutted to. I will call you Honorable to say, I'm bringing this one. You see, so that they rebut. Let's put together our acts together. And also, I know in Parliament, you people don't fight. And you love each other. But the common man out there, they think you mwenda fine mpanga mu nama knife that I will butcher you. This is the waste. Your last words, Honorable.
I am very grateful for inviting us. And I just want to appeal to the Zambian public that indeed we know. And we have to resolve a number of things. And we are committed to doing it. They should not lose hope. This is a leadership that was elected on the premise of changing lives. And we are going to work on that one.
Absolutely.
The issues that have been highlighted are the issues that we are working on. We will continue even to improve in other sectors. Yes, just because milling is expensive, electricity, fuel is expensive, it doesn't mean that employment in education is... no, they will not remain that forever. And for everybody that has scored today, I want to appreciate them. Nobody has been insulting. They've all raised the issues. And even as I go back to level Mbelap. Nachufua Patrick Bachela tulenda feji sunguko. Niwa Patrick David ni mwanale baba le mfosi bakopa beot. Na anyway ndabanda chube mbakati bakopa loko kwino. Thank you for listening and we will resolve it.
Yeah.
Yes, but that you've taken 2 years to resolve it, to resolve, it is the same thing we talked about in opposition. To unbundle legal issues, it doesn't take overnight. These are the consequences of bad leadership that we've spoken of. But once we resolve them, we should resolve them once and for all. People, because we are transparent, we are bringing things to the world, to the country. People are understanding, and we are meek and listening even when they rebuke us. That's why we can even be able to be abused, not to be paid. But when we defend ourselves, to say, please listen. We are committed to resolving these issues. Yes, that's why the church, that's why they fire. Tari, misango ya hivi. Lelo mlandu awe no back to the court. Ama kete cases ya lipo. Ngatualeka fati yakapwe. Because not even HH Nangoli president has got the right to cancel Milan. The judiciary is independent.
It has to go through the courts of law.
It has to go through the whole process. But if it goes through the whole process, but David, but Patrick, but Kaonga na bonse, tukafua ikashara femina nduira pita. But that's what we're saying, that can we get out of court? But never to from court, muichi indike. Muchimubombe for buntu bulingire bwabo. Never to from court, the period ya wantu mwakata kwa emisha bonse. Before tamananyanta no lukasa punch. Zesco is owed over $40 million. Yes. CC around $30 million by Vedanta. To attirate them, he should pay. That's why Zesco has been struggling. But in Shinkongoleshani in Nemulbanan, Vedanta ile kwa mwana wasadi ichi ndike. Ile kwa Sata, Vedanta Sata was president. I was working for Vedanta. Vedanta was behaving themselves. They were paying us salaries. I had the conditions of service. I would go into a showroom, buy a brand new Hilux. The moment Fiawa Tatabashi Sapovalungu, Vedanta and Misangwa change. Stopped increasing salaries, stopped paying contractors, stopped paying suppliers. Mwaishwa no muntu mupi. And we say, Diramisango mwakwete, ishale na kula kwene. For now, behave right. So we are committed to the Zambian people. Even Mopani, As late as this night, when I was coming here, it was a meeting I had. The president was leaving State House around 20 hours, going to his home. So that we resolve the Mopani issue. And when we resolve it, we want the Zambian people to enjoy. Ngani Mopani currently as it is, we own it as government. Tatule fire 20% shareholding, 10%. We the Zambians should own it. If we're going to bring partnership, not that we are our partner after 10%, it's either 50-50, 51-49, something tangible.
Absolutely.
Where contractors if you supply, you know that you are not going to compete with Bamuisa. You supply for the jobs that you can do. Only that which you can't do is what you do outside.
Absolutely.
And that's my mandate as Commerce Minister. That's why I want to do that.
Well, Honorable, on behalf of my wife, the management of this station, our team that works tirelessly, I can only thank you for coming to clarify issues. And never be tired of me. Well, you come and clarify what we don't understand. Well, on behalf of my wife, who is the CEO of this wonderful station, on behalf of the team, the winning team, I want to thank Honorable CHIPOKA MULENGA for taking his precious time to come here. And before I close, Honorable, please allow me to congratulate Timothy Tabokawana for being the new PS of Minister of Information, and also Honorable Mwetwa to be Minister of Information. Those people are close to our hearts. We engage them. Well, keep watching CAMNET TV. Next week, pay attention. We will bring you somebody that will also talk about issues. May God bless you, and may the Lord bless Zambia. Keep watching CAMNET TV, and remember, CAMNET TV is not another channel. Let's pray for this nation. Let's love one another. God bless you.